We're back with Frankie Corrado for the inside edge on some intriguing futures on FanDuel. And here's how this is going to work. I'm going to throw some names at you where the line has been set in terms of over-unders and how many goals will these guys score in the upcoming season. Are you ready, Frankie?
I'm ready, Sarah, and I always hit the under when I was a player, never the over.
Of course, right. Okay, well, let's get started, see how good you are at this. With year 2 for Connor Bedard, he had 22 goals in 68 games as a rookie. FanDuel has set the over-under at 34.5. Is Bedard going over or under?
It might seem like a big number compared to what he had last year, but I like the over for Connor Bedard this season. There was one priority for the Chicago Blackhawks in this offseason. Surround Connor Bedard with some players to play with, be a competitive team, and help him get to superstar status in this league, because the quicker he does that, the quicker the Chicago Blackhawks can turn the corner. So yes, over for Connor Bedard.
Remember, he had a broken jaw, too, so he missed a few games. Okay, from one first overall pick to another, what are your expectations for Macklin Celebrini in his rookie season? FanDuel has set the line at 26.5 goals.
I think it's under. San Jose is going to be a rebuilding team. There's not going to be a lot of help around him. Very similar to what Connor Bedard had to deal with last year with the Chicago Blackhawks. And 18-year-old player, as much as he was great in college hockey, joining the NHL, it's not easy to hit the ground running. If he gets 22, 23, 24 goals this year, that's still a very good rookie season for Macklin Celebrini with lots of room to grow.
Yeah, that's a win-win. Another first overall pick, but this one from 19 years ago, Frankie. Sidney Crosby just turned 37. He had 42 goals last year, and FanDuel expects some regression. His line is at 33.5 goals. Is that too low?
That is too low. That's way too low. Sidney Crosby's going to have another big year. He's still doing it at such an old age, and it feels crazy that we call Sidney Crosby old at this point.
Yeah.
But here's one thing that he's going to have to deal with. He does not have Jake Guentzel, and he didn't have him from the trade deadline on last year. That's fine, but he might have to be a little more of a shooter. Maybe Sidney Crosby puts a little more onus into his own game, being a shooter, and if he's putting more volume at the net, chances are he's scoring a little more too.
Maybe a little closer to 50. And let's end with a head-to-head question here. The Lightning moved on from Steven Stamkos, in part because they prioritized signing Jake Guentzel, of course you just mentioned. So interestingly enough, they have identical over-unders at FanDuel, 34.5. Who has the better season?
I want to say Steven Stamkos. I'm going to say Steven Stamkos, and it should be close. But the last 3 years, Stamkos has scored at a pretty high clip. He's had 2 40-goal years out of his last 3 seasons. Now he's going to a Nashville Predators team that is going to improve offensively. There's going to be plenty of pucks going to him. Yes, he's not going to have Nikita Kucherov. Jake Guentzel is going to have Nikita Kucherov. But it just feels like Steven Stamkos has a lot to prove going to the Nashville Predators, and he has been scoring a lot more since he's become healthy 3 years ago.
Your health is your wealth, isn't it? Okay, it's going to be a fun few months, Frankie, when we can see how all of these turn out. Now, of course, we have Mike Johnson, who we call Mystic Mike, and he definitely hits the mark sometimes. We're going to have to figure out a nickname for you, Frankie Corrado. Wheels are turning. Thanks for this.